Almost every parent has taken their child there at least once, the National Library's children's section, and now it's the centre of a controversy that has seen heated exchanges in the past week. And the latest, the resignation of 3 Singapore Literature Prize judges in protest. What do parents think of all this? Talking Point starts now. Good evening, I'm Stephen Chia. At least 6 children's titles have been pulled from the shelves of the National Library this year, all for apparently alluding to family structures that were outside the norm. Last week, it was revealed that 3 titles were withdrawn as a result of customer feedback. And Tango Makes 3 tells the story of 2 male penguins hatching an egg. The White Swan Express, Who's in My Family, and at least 3 other titles removed recently following internal reviews feature single-parent families or same-sex couples. Here's a recap of recent days' events.
It all started with a complaint made to the NLB. A parent had observed that a few books in the children's collection did not promote what he deemed as family values. And when NLB responded, he posted the contents of the email on a Facebook group. The reply stated that the NLB takes a strong pro-family stand in selecting books for children and that it had withdrawn the titles. The incident has since triggered a storm of public debate. Heated words have been exchanged on social media, and groups online have gathered thousands of signatures both for and against the NLB's decision. More recently, questions have also been raised on how the removed books should be handled and how the review process can be improved. Recounting its review process, NLB said one of the titles, And Tango Makes 3, arrived a few months ago. And not long after, it surfaced during a regular review by librarians. As the parents' feedback was in line with its own concerns, NLB removed the title. Minister for Communications and Information Yaacob Ibrahim said that NLB's approach is to reflect existing social norms and not to challenge or seek to change them. He added that these norms are held by the overwhelming majority and support teaching children about conventional families, but not about non-traditional ones.
And here with me tonight to tell us what they think of the controversy are several parents. Joining me is Michelle Wong, a mother to 10, 14 and 6-year-old boys. Mr. Perry Tan, who has 2 daughters aged 1 and 4. Mr. Kelvin Sia, father of sons aged 5 and 3. And Miss Adelia Lin, who has a 10-month-old son. Good evening to all of you. Thanks so much for coming on Talking Point. I'm going to throw out this first question to all of you. We've just seen a recent recap of the events and the reactions, the petitions gathered, the emotional debates on social media, writers pulling out of NLB events. And we just announced recently the 3 judges who are resigning from the Singapore Literature Prize. So from a parent's point of view, what do you think of the actions that the NLB has taken and the reactions that have been surrounding this whole issue? Michelle.
As far as NLB is concerned, I think if they have followed due process, then they have complied with it and that whole process is transparent, then that's fine. From a parent's point of view, as well, hearing what the others have to say, I think they are entitled to their point of view and we must hear them out. So there are 2 parties here, the NLB party and, of course, the other one, which is the vocal minority at this point in time. Both need to be heard.
Mm-hmm. And Perry, your thoughts?
Okay, first, as a parent, I have no issue with the themes in the books. I want my kids to know that sexual minorities are a reality in society. And I want my kids to be able to treat everyone with the same due respect as they would treat straight people. And in the case whereby my kids would turn out to be gay, I don't know, because they are young, they're 1 and 4, I would want them to be growing up in an environment whereby they are very comfortable. So that's my take on that issue. But regarding NLB's action, I think they overreacted to the feedback of one group of parents who are very vocal, whose motivations seem to stem from conservative and religious motivations. I'm not sure that concerns are broad-based, and I think that the NLB as a secular institution should have a more robust and transparent framework for making decisions.
Okay, well, we will actually be talking about the responsibility of the library a little bit later. Kelvin, your thoughts?
When I think about what just happened, I think I can't help but feel that perhaps NLB's decision could have been a decision that was better timed in the light of recent events, be it the Pink Dot as well as the White Wear campaign. As a parent of two boys, young boys, and young and impressionable children, my take is that those books should perhaps not be so openly and easily and freely accessible to children like my own. And for my family, we are very careful. We want to make sure that our children, we supervise what our children are assessing in terms of books and stuff.
Adelia?
So, as a mother, I think I was very saddened and very disappointed by the NLB's decision, because these books, I think, are about love and about family, and the withdrawal of these books actually sends a message that certain families, and only one type of family, is acceptable and is valid. And it also sends the message, I think, that the makeup of a family is more important than the love that binds a family and the actions of the members within that family. With respect to the NLB side of the story, I think it's also a bit worrying, because the message that the NLB has now sent to me is that they can silence a point of view very swiftly without much community input if they see fit. And to me, I think that's really contradictory for a library, a role as a library.
So what do you all think is the real issue here? Is it the fact that they as Adelia just said, they silence the point of view so quickly, or is it about what they consider should or should not be a family? You know, I mean, in the terms of what are those values and principles? Everyone agrees that, you know, parents should ultimately make the decision for what to teach their children, but yeah. Michelle?
Okay, I feel that the key trigger point was when they decided to pulp the books. I think that was really a point that it's a point of no return. If they had perhaps just shelved the books somewhere and then engaged the groups of people who were interested in the subject matter, and then decided what to do with the books, I think that would have been better. The problem here is that they made a decision, immediately went to pulp the books, and I think the reaction was fast and swift and unhappy about it. So perhaps that process needs to be addressed. That process needs to be really looked at, so that we can engage the people who are interested in the subject matter.
I think the reaction from a lot of the literary community and as well as a lot of academics is very telling in this point. So I think that really says that it's not simply about core family values. It's about more than that. It's about censorship. It's about, you know, all these other issues, the due process, as you mentioned. So that's my take on
Okay. Well, we've touched on a few things that we are going to talk about in just a short while, but I also want to share some comments that we have from some of our viewers. Madeline had written into our Today paper and shared this to say that in today's globalized world, do we just pretend that the LGBT community does not exist and shield our children from them? Or do we teach our children to respect differences from young and to coexist with people who are different, all within a common space? We also had Edward Tay writing into our Facebook page. He wrote in to say that he's a father of a young child and he takes exception to exposing the young to alternative lifestyles without even a hint that these deviate from the norm. Now, the books may still belong within literature, but in the context of a classroom where proper education is offered, may be more acceptable, but not in a place where impressionable children can read the book without an understanding of what these choices are. We're going to come back and talk more about this, but in the meantime, we do need to take off for a quick commercial break. What do you think of everything you've heard so far? How should a public library reconcile these very different expectations of it? We want to hear from you. Give us a call. It's 66910028, or you can tweet us at TelTP. We're back in a bit.